Lecture 3: Why Not Every Shortcoming is Worth Correcting, Part 1. In this lecture, we enter the first module, Manage Yourself, Achieve the Team. Many capable managers, as they rise in position and manage more people, find it increasingly difficult to manage their teams. Most people think that the reason for this is their own lack of ability and experience, so they work hard to learn. However, some so-called management problems are caused by their own flaws being magnified by the current environment. Our environment is like a loudspeaker. The higher the position, the more people are managed, the better the business, or the more complex the business, the greater the power of this loudspeaker. What was once a seemingly insignificant flaw can now cause fatal harm to the team. Let me tell you a real case. I coached the CEO of a leading company in the industry. Due to personal growth experience, he found it difficult to face conflicts and often compromised due to pressure. You may think, can someone like this be a CEO? Shouldn't a CEO be strong, confident, and decisive? If you, like me, have the opportunity to understand those entrepreneurs who are extremely successful in the eyes of the public, you will find that behind the halo, they also have self-doubt, fear, and weakness, and they are also imperfect ordinary people, even more struggling than us. Confidence and strength are often a protective color or a role requirement. You may also think, I don't like conflicts either, is this not a big deal? Many personality traits are not a big deal for ordinary employees, but they are different for executives and CEOs. Take fear of conflict as an example. For an ordinary employee, it is just a little uncomfortable for oneself. But for executives, fear of conflict means that many problems will be glossed over and not truly resolved. If it is a CEO, it becomes a fatal blow. Fear of conflict is often due to attaching too much importance to interpersonal relationships, and the closer the relationship, the easier it is to compromise. In the early stages of the company, this is not a big problem, and it may even make the team more motivated. But as the company grows and becomes more successful, the problem becomes bigger. Whoever has a good relationship with the CEO and dares to make demands will get more benefits. When a company is not results-oriented but relationship-oriented, office politics will form. Everyone does not bring up conflicts because the CEO does not want to be the bad guy, and everyone calculates privately, trying to please the CEO instead of focusing on work. You tell me, isn't this fatal? There are many similar personality flaws. Now, please take 5 seconds to think about it. What are your small flaws? Impulsive, indecisive, fearful, bad-tempered. I tell you, if you are not a manager, these are not flaws. But if you are, even a CEO, they may become your fatal flaws. The responsibilities you bear in the complex environment will magnify the small flaws in your personality. That's why this lecture will explore how to deal with small flaws that may become fatal flaws. 1. Avoid it if you can. Very well, what about it? Executives often tell me what to change, which I call what, such as not getting angry at subordinates during meetings in the future, or not being a pushover anymore. However, what won't help you succeed in making changes? For example, you may not be able to resist getting angry during meetings even if you want to stop. Therefore, how is the key to change? For instance, stand up, leave, and talk to someone when you feel like getting angry, calm down, and then come back. This is the how. Why do I say this? If your answer is what, the implication is that I didn't do it because I wasn't disciplined enough and didn't have enough determination. Therefore, the solution is to be tougher on yourself. I call this method of relying on determination and willpower to change grinding. Grinding is very similar to using a special move in a video game. It's powerful when used, but it can't be sustained. In the United States, there is a reality show called The Biggest Loser, which is a weight loss program for overweight participants who rely on grinding to lose weight quickly. Many of them have lost dozens or even hundreds of pounds. However, do you know that only a few can maintain their weight after a few years, and most of them even gain more weight than before? Our fatal weakness is similar to obesity, with strong vitality. If you rely only on grinding, it will come back to haunt you even more in the future. Managers face more pressure than ordinary people, and energy and willpower are scarce resources. Therefore, I want to help them find ways to solve problems that consume less and last longer. So, what should I do? Do you remember the CEO who fears conflict at the beginning? As his support system, I first help him separate the reality that should be accepted from what can be changed. This is what I have been calling separation. For example, negative emotions cannot be controlled, so accepting negative emotions is a reality we must face. What can be changed? It is the consequences of negative emotions. As long as we don't let them control and harm us, it's enough. Therefore, in reality, what managers need to solve are the consequences of their shortcomings, not the shortcomings themselves. Back to the case. Most people's advice to the CEO is to learn conflict management and face their weaknesses head-on. This is undoubtedly correct for ordinary people, but for the CEO, he doesn't have the energy and time. What is a more effective method? You will be surprised when I tell you. I told this CEO, if you can avoid it, avoid it. Please note that I am not saying to avoid the problem, but to cleverly avoid unnecessary trouble. Then a question arises immediately: what can be avoided and what cannot be avoided? So I continued to help him separate the problem, which things bring you tremendous pressure, but you don't have to do them because even if you do, they won't add any value. He found that enforcing the system was such a thing. For example, if the standard is not met, money will be deducted, but when executives talk about special circumstances, he compromises. I told him that at this time, he should consider using a support system or using people, such as letting the CFO be the scapegoat, or using rules, such as having the team come together to improve the rules that break the rules every time there are special circumstances. This way, the pressure is shifted away from him. In the past, everyone knew that they could directly approach him to make an exception. Now, with the isolation zone, everyone approaches him, and he pushes it onto policies and the CFO. Gradually, everyone gets used to the new rules, and the harm caused by his fear of conflict is reduced.